Well, welcome back to Retire Well. I'm Kristen Oakley here with both Kevin and Sean from Citizen Advisory Group, and we're so glad that you're joining us today. If you're just tuning in, we did share at the top of the show that recently Citizen Advisory Group was recognized as the top investment firm by the Toledo Blades Reader Choice Awards. And again, we're all so proud of you guys, and this is so well deserved and well received. And really, it's a testament to how you've been helping and serving this area for so many years. But one of the things that we were talking about today is it can be hard for folks to know who to go to with their financial planning, who to trust, what really goes into building that comprehensive, holistic plan. And so we want to spend some time now really sharing how you all do things differently for folks. So how did you, first of all, structure your company and your firm differently to meet the needs that you saw?
Yeah, well, and it's a great question because, I know that on the show, I've been on the show quite frequently, and just to make it clear, I am not an expert across all of these areas. Mm-hmm. I feel like I can have a very general, good conversation around these areas, but we recognize that we need to bring in a team of experts that are going to kind of help us navigate these areas. So when we work with a client, it is very much a team approach. Mm-hmm. So there's the financial advisor who's working with insurance professionals and tax professionals and the estate planning side of it to put together the plan. But the big difference is, and I know we'll get to this in more detail, but the big difference is that we're communicating with each other. Mm-hmm. There's cohesiveness between what we're doing to eliminate the gaps in these planning areas.
Yes, and this is why you chose to bring all the key planning areas in-house under one roof to be able to serve folks through that team approach. You've mentioned these 5 areas, but Sean, I'd love for you to drill down and just share it with our viewers. I know a lot of you watching may be new to us and to this show, but talk about those 5 key areas and what goes into each one.
Yeah, so let's just talk about them. There's investments, there's going to be some income planning, you're going to have some tax planning, there's going to be some risk mitigation, so what insurances do we need to have in place, and then ultimately your legacy and estate. And how we approach this plan, we have a process in place to address each one of these areas, but it really depends on what's kind of most important to you at the given time, right? Because I'll give you just a kind of normally what happens, right? You come in and we do an analysis around income. So we're going to start with how do we recreate that guaranteed lifetime source of income. And once we have that, we can kind of get a pretty good idea of what's going on in your tax situation. When I got those two kind of rounded out and I understand what they're going to do, well then that tells me how we should invest the money. And that's really the biggest difference from our firm and from our perspective is that most advisors, most investment-only advisors, they take the money and they invest it and then they figure out what the plan is, right? Mm-hmm. And I just think that's kind of backwards. Because once we have those 3 in place, well now we can start to address the others where, hey, what life insurance do we have? Do we need life insurance? How are we going to address long-term care? And then ultimately, we got to talk about the legacy of this money and what does legacy mean? Does legacy mean this is what I'm going to pass on to the next generation, or can we live a legacy, right, while we're still here and we get to have that time with our loved ones?